What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CanesInSight Daily podcast powered by Anijar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Getting closer, man. It's amazing with the playoffs how these games just pop right back up. One finishes, the other one comes right down the pike. It's amazing how much energy these players and coaches have to keep it going. It's been playoff football really since November 1st with the Miami Hurricanes keep on rolling into the Fiesta Bowl. And we are going to talk about that game with the great Aman Richards. Always a lot of fun talking to him. First, I want to talk about some folks who have been rolling for a long time. That's Anijar and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you or someone you care about is injured in an accident, you could be entitled significant compensation. Dial 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life with Anijar and Levine. Pete, get in here.
D, good morning. This time tomorrow, I'll be more than halfway there, man. So excited for the trip. When are you leaving?
I'm leaving a little later, but I'll see you Wednesday at some point.
Got it. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, excited for Aman to hop on here. He'll be on here any minute now. So he always gives us a great perspective. Great stuff yesterday, man, with Landon Tengwall. I saw your video with him. We also had Malik Rozier in the afternoon. So loaded day of content, and it's going to continue here, man.
Yeah, it's the kind of the New Year's resolution, right? To get more guests. I know we're getting a lot of great reaction from the people in the comments. Appreciate everybody's support. So I think we'll probably keep on doing more of that. But yeah, I'm excited to talk portal too. We'll talk a lot about the Miami portal story, which we did yesterday, but also just trying to keep track of what's going on around the country, because it's very interesting to track just the quarterback movement, which we saw a quarterback transfer flip, which we'll talk about. Guy committed to Kenny Minchey committed to Nebraska, then flips to Kentucky. It's got to be the worst feeling in the world to have a portal quarterback flip.
Well, I mean, you could also be a Florida State fan this morning. That can't be a great feeling either.
It never is, right? We'll get into all that stuff. I think the ACC continues to lose talent, but then you look at the quality of the league, it doesn't really change. So that's going to be pretty interesting to monitor. But going back to the Fiesta Bowl and the game against Ole Miss, between all those interviews, Tangwell, like you said, we talked yesterday, offensive line guy. I mean, there's a lot of national confidence in the Miami Hurricanes, which is a little scary to me. I just hate being in that position when you look at how well Miami played as the underdog. But certainly, I think the national consensus is that Miami's difference-making talent up front, both offensive and defensive line, will be tough for Ole Miss to deal with, and with the X factor being, of course, Trinidad Chambliss and his ability to make those dynamic plays. But I thought it was interesting. Tangwell was very low on Ole Miss's linebackers, not the group. He said the group was basically average with a couple weak spots, one in particular. And then the secondary, nothing particularly special. So that back seven, just to me, this feels like a game where you get an explosive play out of a Pringle, an explosive play out of a Tony. Like you need those explosive plays. It's not been an explosive offense, but that's something you need in this game in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, I think we have to avoid, which you haven't let any game become that this year if you're Miami, even the games they lost, but you can't get into a shootout with these guys, which is, we talk about explosive plays, you have to limit them on the other side too, which is what Trinidad Chambliss can do. A lot of the stuff he does outside of the pocket, putting pressure on Miami's secondary when those plays are extended. And you know who nationally is a little bit more worried, our boy the Bear. I saw him putting some stuff out that he's a little bit more nervous for this one. Now, I'm also more nervous for this one. I don't know if it's just because it's the semifinal game and I know what's at stake. You've already won 2 here, or it's just the matchup itself is it's different than what you've seen, but they're favored. Hasn't meant anything the first couple rounds, but I do trust Vegas.
Yeah, and it's not the biggest spread in the world.
Yeah,
but the fact that Bear scares me because Bear's been right on a ton of stuff. We both talked to him kind of offline, and he hit every aspect of the playoff process, the playoff selection process. He was saying it right the whole time. He was confident against Ohio State, more than I expected. And this is when he started to get a little less confident. I get it because, again, Miami just not played well in this scenario. Now, Miami didn't play well going into the Pittsburgh game as far as like they played well the last 3 games, but you were saying this is kind of where Miami typically falters, right? And they didn't. So something to consider. Appreciate you, Ethio Kane, for your support. Asking about Sorsby, saying he received 10 years of future oil royalties at Texas Tech. Who knows, man, with the way they're spending money. I don't blame them. They got good return last year, and we were all over it, Pete, this time of year, which is why we followed the portal so close, and we're doing this portal wrap-up because you could see this coming.
Butch says, I get the appreciate your support, Butch. He says, I get the comparison of Ole Miss being SMU on steroids, but I keep thinking about that fourth quarter of the FSU game, and that's what scares me.
I mean, if we're up 28-3 going into the fourth quarter of this game, I'm feeling pretty good. I hope that's where we're at. The one thing I'll say is we have a really good personality on this team, group of personalities, but just the culture of the team. So I don't see 1 ounce of soft or let up in these guys. These guys are aggressive. These guys want to hit. They want to obviously play well. I don't see a lot of let up in these guys. What I'd be more worried about is them getting tight. Like, man, are we really going to lose this game? This guy Chambliss is hitting crazy plays. We played good defense. We can't stop it. You know, what's going on? We were good all year. Just the tightness concerns me more than like letting the foot off the gas. I don't think we're going to see them let the foot off the gas. They haven't. They didn't.
Well, even last game where Ohio State made their run there in the third quarter and had their success offensively, Miami came right back and answered. So
100%. I don't worry so much about their mental state, other than the fact that it's just when you're the favorite, you can get a little nervous, right? We've seen that with Miami as a bigger favorite, a double-digit favorite. So that's the only thing. But if Miami can get up on these guys, one thing about Ole Miss, extremely impressed with Trinidad Chambliss as a leader, and just as a group, you got to give them credit for getting through this whole debacle and keeping their heads. That speaks to their character as a team, I think. But watching them on film, particularly on defense, like I don't see the most tough-minded unit consistently as compared to like a Miami or an Ohio State, where like Ohio State might control that game, but they were always hitting and really going for the throat. I'm not sure Ole Miss has that natural physicality on defense where you turn on the tape and you're seeing pads popping, right? It's more of they have talented guys. They have body types. They're an SEC team in that way, and they built it that way. But I don't know if they have the edge on defense that they have on offense beyond just the production. Like it's just they remind us, and this has been made a lot, Pete, this comparison. I saw Roman from OBB just did it. I seen really Malik on our show, I believe, made the same comparison, if I recall, which was they're kind of like us last year, Ole Miss, with Chambliss being Cam Ward and the defense reflecting our defense last year. That comparison has been made a few times, and I get that one 100%. I don't know what you think.
I'm sorry, I was getting a text from someone. Who'd you compare him to?
Was it the president of the United States? Who's texting?
Listen, there's some interesting stuff going on behind the scenes. There's some interesting stuff going on behind the scenes.
I know. It's people are going to ask a million questions about the portal and Miami's portal.
That's what the text was about.
I know it was. It's a quiet process. That's all I could say is it's unique. There's no playbook for being on the precipice of a home national championship game if you take care of business while doing the portal at the same time. So Indiana's doing it business as usual. That is not what you're seeing from the Miami Hurricanes in the portal. They're really trying to separate the portal from what's happening on the field and what's in the public.
We should get to this here, and Aman, he said he'll be on here shortly, but important here, and we alluded to this yesterday. This is what we started the show with yesterday, but the injury report came out last night with O.J. Frederick being listed as probable, Ahmad Moten and Damari Brown listed as questionable, but we've seen guys whose progress have been upgraded throughout the week, and I think the hope is that you get both of those guys in action, along with OJ, which we talked about yesterday was looking good.
Yeah, Monmouth, I mean, he was walking around. He looked fine.
Yeah,
Like he was joking around. I'm not as worried about that unless he tripped over the stairs.
I've heard similar. So
yeah, Damari we'll see, and OJ huge. I mean, I think this to me is an OJ game. When I'm watching how well he played against Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, and then watching what these guys do, like those sideline fades that they ran, I think 3 times against OJ last week. I mean, Ole Miss does that all the time because they get rid of the ball quick. They just kind of throw it up, let the receivers run under it, and they get rid of it. So they don't have to sit there and have a long developing downfield pass play where they can get sacked. But they throw it with great timing. Chambliss throws a great ball. Receivers have the speed to get under it in size. Frederic covers that route very well. So that is someone that I think we really, really need to get back.
Obviously, yeah, I mean, you were, and I'm a big fan of Jabari Antoine, but you were looking at a situation where, and he still probably could get some snaps in this game with as much tempo as you see there, but you don't want to have to rely on a freshman who hasn't seen all that much time this season in this spot.
D'Lo saying, "What an idiot, not listening to his own podcast." You're always working. You're like the Adam Schefter. You know,
there's no way I can't. D gets upset. D has had conversations with me off the air, and I've told him, D, I can't. If I'm getting a text message that could be pertinent to something happening right now, I gotta take it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. If it was walk honey, we'd have a problem. If it's, hey, defensive lineman potentially visiting on the 8th, then we're talking. So that's why it's called the work.
Exactly. It never stops.
By the way, let's see what's going on here. Yeah, this was interesting. Canesman Laz says Charlie Weiss hosting portal targets for the U. Charlie Weiss was junior, the offensive coordinator on paper for Ole Miss. He was in LSU having dinner with Sam Levitt after already having dinner with Brennan Sorsby. I mean, this guy's out here at Capitol Grill every single day.
Having dinner with some good quarterbacks, man.
Yeah, eating steak and crab cakes. What's the meaning? Heatherman's doing all this crap?
Hey, it's been a wacky few weeks for them already, and they've managed. I agree with you. It's not the ideal situation, but they seem to be doing all right through everything that's gone on.
All right, let's bring in the big boy. We got Ahmmon Richards. Aman, get him on here, Pete. There he is.
Oh, you guys can hear me?
Yeah.
What's going on? You go out last night? You got the sunglasses on indoors?
Hey, listen, it's been a long celebration. You hear me? Listen, I told you guys, man, on the last show, I said we're gonna come back here, next Tuesday, and we're gonna be celebrating, and here we are.
They were making a mockery of our videos, man. They were making a mockery of our headlines and the titles on our videos, man.
You know what, Pete, man? I felt slighted, because part of the video, I think the guy was asking like, who was me, or type of thing. But like I was saying in the post I made, his co-host knows very well. His co-host on their main show, Zach Smith. I mean, he was in Wellington pretty often. So I'm just saying, I promise you, I'm not just a random dude just bumping around out here in the world. I just don't think so, But hey, man, it feels good to know that, like I be saying, we're not crazy, right? I know they begin on D about hyping up the team and stuff. Like, sometimes you got to trust what you see. And I know we may be traumatized from the past and all the other stuff, but right now we're in the present. I can go based off what I'm seeing right now. And, we've been saying it since camp, man. Like, the team has like championship level talent. It's just a matter of, can we put it all together? And, most years, right, it's one side dominating football, the other is struggling. And this year is finally that year where both is kind of having that balance. And I think we talked about it coming into the year where, yes, we don't have Cam Ward, but the defense looks completely different, where we can have like that balance and play just overall good football. And that should be enough to win us a lot of games. And shoot, Lord and behold, here we are playing in the semifinals.
Yeah, I know you're celebrating, right? But hopefully the team's locked in just from the perspective of being the favorite after you've been an underdog. you weren't an underdog necessarily in November, but you were kind of like an underdog because everybody was saying you're going to lose one of them. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to make the playoffs. So they were at a chip on their shoulder all of November. Then 2 games, they're the underdog. Now they're the favorite and the most important one. Like mentally, what do you think about where they're at?
I mean, to be honest, I don't really think the guys look at like Hard Rock bets or they, I think they hear the noise of, okay, they were projected to lose or win, but it doesn't really change like your approach, because at the end of the day, like you can still lose and we've seen it. We've been favored by double digits and loss. So I don't really think that really plays a big point. Sometimes it can be used as a little bit of motivation, but I think at this point, like playing in the semifinals in college football today is enough motivation to get up and want to go perform. Like if at this point you need like to be an underdog or whatever to go play in the semifinals, then you shouldn't even be playing in the semifinals. You get what I'm saying? So I think we're just ready and appreciative of the moment. And I think the guys just, like I said, like, I just think we're ready, man. Like it's just a lot like right there in the grasp. And I think we can taste it.
We've talked a lot this week about how the up-tempo of Ole Miss is going to kind of bring you back to what we saw against SMU that gave Miami issues. Does that worry you at all? Is that something that you think is being overblown a bit? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, look, do I think Ole Miss has a great offense? Yes, I think they have a very good scheme. I think they have talented enough players where they can get the ball out of the perimeter. They can make some plays, right? But also, like when I just look at our style of defense and just look at the other mobile quarterbacks and high tempo offenses we've been tested against all year, and people want to say USF is USF, but at the time, USF just knocked off Florida. They're coming on the road again, looking to use that up tempo offense, and they scored 13 points or 7 and then 1 late or something like that. I mean, pretty much like we weathered that like high tempo storm. Obviously, I do think Ole Miss quarterback talent wise is the most talented dual threat quarterback we have faced as far as like being able to actually be an accurate passer. Because Tommy Castellano could get out the pocket, can make things, but he wasn't like a real thrower of the football. So this guy I think can actually do both. But again, I think questions about the defense, can they do it? We've answered them all year long, and I think we continue. I think Heatherman will have a great plan. I think our DNs, as great as they are, like I think they do a really good job of just doing their assignment when needed. I don't think we're just losing our gap integrity. We're not just running up the field immediately. I think we're more so collapsing a pocket on these type of more mobile quarterbacks and forcing them to be pocket passers and just be a little bit uncomfortable, just a little bit. That's all you really want. Make them a little bit uncomfortable, get them off their rhythm. But the key to this game, in my opinion, more than the defense, like stopping the tempo, is our offense controlling the time of possession and actually maximizing each drive. And I think that type of flow of offense gets these high tempo teams off rhythm, and it gets them a little bit unorthodox than what they're used to. As if you look at, Ole Miss throughout the year, a lot of their games are high scoring. Like they're going back and forth with teams all game long. They're back and forth. So I think if you're able to control the clock and keep them on the sideline for 8 minutes, 7 minutes, and they get off that rhythm, and then I think you see a little different offense from them. So I'm curious to see if that's something we can accomplish. And I'm almost certain that'll be the goal. What we'll try to do, just keep that offense from having numerous opportunities. And how you do that is picking up first downs, converting on third downs, and just making these long drives and putting up points. And I think you'll get them out of what they're comfortable doing.
Now, I'm not saying anything here that's not public record, so I'm not trying to give away secrets, but it's been reported, right? Dalen Upshaw for the year. Tony Johnson's been out for the year. Now you've had Chance Robinson in the portal, Ray Joseph in the portal, Nikar in the portal. So just from a room perspective, the guys you have been relying on are available and ready to go, but there's no one else at practice, really. Samorian Wingo, I know, joined the team. Does that matter, or is it so late in the season that as long as you have your go-to guys ready to rock, it doesn't really make a difference?
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the season, like you kind of have like your guys that going to get majority of the reps. Now, I will say that does hurt as far as, practice prep, prep for the other team, having enough bodies to do certain things and looks, and just get through regular routine practice. But I think at this point, the workload isn't the same workload as if you're in fall camp where you're trying to throw everything at your guys and pretty much kill them to, get them battle tested going into the season. So I don't think the level of practice is that. I think we're still getting it in. We're still, having our one-on-one sessions, still getting it in, but I don't think it's as demanding. And I think that's a problem, just throughout college football, with the portal and the windows. It is kind of crazy to have a playoff team and everyone knows that practice reps, every rep matters, and having the depth in case anything, knock on wood, happens. If a guy goes down and you look and 3-4 of your guys are in the portal, is just kind of one of those just unfortunate moments. And that's a part where I think a lot of coaches can agree that they gotta just figure out the scheduling timeline and get that fixed so everyone can have a full roster at least until the end of the national championship game for any team. And if you lose, then you go in the portal. But to be going to the semifinals and having guys leaving because they almost have to is kind of just unfortunate.
Canes man Laz brought up an interesting point here. I wanted to talk about as he says, people say Chambliss doesn't throw picks. He almost lost the game. Threw it to the Georgia defender. He dropped it. He's only thrown 3 picks this year, but he had a pick 6, as I put in the comments. He had a pick 6, DJ Pickett pick 6 called back against LSU. That would have made the game. They would have been down 14-3 in that one, and LSU had some real momentum in that one. So, look, the numbers are what they are. They're great, but do you see anything there? Does he have that kind of gunslinger mentality where, look, he hasn't started the whole season for them, right? And he has now at this point played a good amount of football, but at the same time, this is not, these SEC defenses aren't what they used to be necessarily. And now you're playing a defense in Miami that has shown what they can do these last couple of weeks. Is that something that you see coming into play here?
Yeah, I think look, I think the kid's a good quarterback, right? I think that's a consensus thing. I think everyone can agree to that. Does he have his mistakes? Is he the most accurate of, passers or, as far as completing passes? The numbers don't say that. 60% on the year, Beck 78, they'll tell you Beck's terrible and they'll say the other guy's elite.
66.4%.
So pretty he's not when I say accurate passers, talk about Julian Sands or the Beck, he's not up to that level. And I get it. Those guys do take more checkdowns. He's taking more shots down the field. Good quarterback. I just think the scheme we're going to present to him, for one, is going to be, have you actually had a really game prep for a different team? And how long has it been? It's been a month since he's played a different uniform team or that he is unfamiliar with. Tulane, they played in a year. Georgia, they already played in a year. So you're talking about coming out with relatively the same scheme, but you're adding a few nicks here and there, but relatively you're comfortable with the defense because you've seen it. So you're playing 2 teams you already played. That's a lot. It's a little bit easier to prep for.
That's a great point. I had not thought about that.
Yeah, but what are you going to I just think it's going to kind of be a little shocking when you have, for one, the first team you've played with 2 arguably first-round edges, right? You got a secondary that can actually bump and run with, as we've seen, any body in the world, the best or whoever. So I just think, and also another thing, we don't run as much man coverage as people think. When you're a mobile quarterback, a killer is a quarterback that can scramble, because when you're man coverage, you're always chasing. You're once a play breaks down, now you're chasing this guy all over the field. And I think that's what he was doing to Georgia, where they get caught in this man coverage and he's just scrambling around until a guy finds open. And if you remember, Cam Ward, when we played Florida State last year, what happened is that guys may have been covered, and then he gets out the pocket. Now he's scrambling around. Guys are chasing him all over the field. He finds a guy he could get a completed pass. So I just think, hey, it's going to be a good matchup, but I think the different looks we're going to bring to him, I think is just going to be a little bit unfamiliar, and it's going to take him a little second to get adjusted, on that. So, but we'll see. Like I said, it's going to be a good game, but hey, when all fails, I lean on Coach Heatherman.
What do you think about their weapons on the outside? We had a Malik on yesterday, and he said he said they're very productive, solid, but he didn't see something that was. I mean, we've played some monsters these last couple rounds. So, your thoughts on what you've seen? I think Stribling's a beast. I think he's probably my favorite one of the bunch. But
Stribling is a dog. I remember when he hit the portal, I was sitting in a group chat I was like, I want him. I could see his speed like pop on the tape. When he was at Oklahoma State, you could just see it. And I mean, this year he's been very good for them. 6'2", almost 200 pounds, damn near running a 4.3. I mean, that's pretty big size and speed right there. So I like that matchup. But my thing is like I be saying, is like it's hard for you to really be productive consistently when you have Ruben Bain and Mesidor on your back all game, getting you off your spot. Like, I just don't think people know what that really looks like and feel like until you end up playing us. And we've seen this throughout the last, let's say 6 games of the season, the last 4 in the regular season, then the 2 playoff games, where teams are kind of like, downplaying these guys, right? Bain don't got a lot of sacks. Mesidor's old. Like, you hear all these excuses, but soon as those bullets start flying live, everyone's like, hold on, those dudes are actually legit. They're like that. And I just don't. And Ole Miss, like, do they have the offensive line that can like really hang with us up front for 4 quarters? Like, I don't know. And I get they say like their left tackle hasn't given up a sack. Yeah, like I get that. That's very easy to do when your quarterback is able to avoid sacks. Like it is. Like how many missed sacks do the other team have on Chambers that they just weren't able to get them on the ground where your line got beat?
Question here about shout out to CIA. He says AR in the house. Miami's going to need to score 27 plus to win. Saw Zachariah Branch kill Ole Miss in the slot in the Georgia game. Malik game coming. I've been saying I feel like this is a Malachi Tony game. First game of the playoffs, it was a windstorm. Second game was Styles, Downs, Reese. I mean, they're so good sideline to sideline. They kind of just eat up a lot of the stuff that Mally is good at in this offense. Where do you see Malachi Tony in this game? Do you think this could be a statistical breakout of the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, there's opportunity. Like their secondary, I think defense-wise, total defense, they're like 41. I mean, it's not very good. They're like 60-something. They're in the 60s in like pass defense. So a lot of opportunity on the field. Look, I'm not saying for Carson Beck, go out here and you need to throw for 300, 400 yards. It's not really the plan, but there's going to be it's going to remind me a little bit more, I think, of like that Florida State vibe where your shot plays are going to be there. They run a lot of cover 4, so a lot of post routes, go routes. If it's 3-by-1, that's man coverage on the backside essentially. I just think, man, like it's just going to be a lot of opportunity for us to do whatever we choose to do and whatever like whatever's hot in the game, right? If Mally comes out and it's clicking, I just think we'll lean in that direction. You'll see similar to that Pitt game where he's just getting the ball, right? You may see Mark Fletcher come through, as far as like stopping the run. Can they do that, right? Can we lean on them? Can we pick up 6-7 yards of carry? That might be the style. So I just think whichever way we choose, because they're not that good on whether it's stopping the run or pass defense, I just think it's just based off that game flow.
I wanted to bring this question up, and it's really for you, Aman. Are you concerned about the fumble things? My take on it was it was a good play by the defender against A&M, and then he took a couple sticks from one of the hardest hitters in the country. But
yeah,
what do you think?
Now, when it happened, I mean, the first one I was like, "What the," and then the second one I'm like, "Come on, bro." But listen, this is what I will say. I'm not worried about the fumbling because, for one, we won the football game, and 2, I know that's the first thing we practice every practice is ball security, and that's been a way since Coach Rick was there. Like that's like the first thing you start in practice. So I just think, for one, like I wouldn't say nerves because I don't think guys are like scared, if I'm saying, but I just think the blow he took twice was just more so shocking to him, where it just like you gotta understand, like Caleb Downs is a player who's like low to the ground, low profile. So Malley usually is sticking against guys that are a little bit bigger than him. But we can argue Caleb Downs and him by the same like height wise. So I just think it kind of shocked him where he had a guy that can get lower than him. And I just think, had on the ball. I just think it was just a great play. There's just two great plays by Caleb Downs where that's just NFL, like that's two NFL players, like just that's a collision right there. That's just good on good. And he got the best of them, twice, but hey, we recovered the ball. We didn't turn those into turnovers. But I think we'll like be a little bit more hyper focused on ball security going forward. Just to, retouch on it, like, hey, just a reminder, because even Fletcher had like 2 or 3 where they almost popped out. Even late in the game, if you just watch a few of like slow motion ones after the play, like he almost popped through there, but they didn't. So I just think you just got to fine tune it a little bit. We'll be good though.
Look at the Georgia game. It seemed like Ole Miss towards the end, they were getting abused with number 14. Number 14 on Ole Miss. Georgia was targeting him repeatedly, kind of just going after him. He got penalties. When there's a weak spot on a defense in a game like this, do you like putting in a game plan like, hey, we're attacking this dude, this is what we're going to be doing, kind of NFL style? Or are you more like, hey, let's just play ball, do what we do, and if that matchup presents itself, it'll be there?
Man, listen, I'll tell you, you never want to be the Waldo on defense. You never want to be it. I promise you. When you go into a game plan, like teams are always going to point out the star players, right? Dudes you must account for every play, know where he is, right? And then you get into like your target, essentially, like who are you going after, right? Who on the defense is the guy who can't like either be in the right play all the time, or he just he's stiff in the hips, whatever the case may be. And I just think, yeah, they found like Georgia, they had that get a freshman kid. I think number 15 was his name. I don't know his name, but it just seemed like teams throughout the year have been targeting the kid all year long. And I don't know what they're seeing on film. Obviously, it is something, whether it's his man coverage, I don't know. But it just seems like a lot of the big plays are always going towards the younger kid. So with that being said, I just think we look at our defense. I don't see like a Waldo. Like I don't see a guy where you're like, hey, let's pick on this guy all game. Because one, like I said, we don't play a lot of man coverage. It's a lot of combo, a lot of zone. So I'm just curious to see how they're going to game plan around like a team that plays a lot of zone coverage.
Mon, we haven't talked much about the Ole Miss's run game. Kewan Lacey, they announced last night he'll be returning for Ole Miss, which is huge for them. It looked like he might follow Kevin Smith to LSU there. But that's probably, and I talked about this with Malik yesterday too, the biggest difference with their offense compared to the two teams that Miami just played is I didn't feel threatened by their run game, or really like the idea that if someone, if they get loose, they can start to get some chunk plays with the run game. This has been one of the best run defenses in the country in terms of Miami. But your thoughts on Kewan Lacey and what he brings to the table?
Man, I ain't gonna lie. I think he's a really good running back. It feels like a long strider. Like he looks bigger than what I think his actual like measurables are. I can't really explain that, but he has like these long strides, galloping almost. Plays tough, physical. So I mean, I think he's a really good running back. But again, for whatever reason, like our defense just takes away what you do very well. And I think outside of a few outlier games, like relatively our defense has been like one of the best at stopping the runs, which I'm pretty sure statistically, I haven't even looked at it. I'm pretty sure statistically we're in the top 5 or 10, guarantee that. So I think as long as because I'm going to explain this, the way we play defense is very like intriguing. And I mean that where our guys are taught like more so like we're tackling like almost the angle and not the player, where we're cutting off guys' angles before they can really get going, right? And we're trusting a swarm where we have, 3, 4 other guys that are running at these similar angles who are taking shots at you, right? So I think that's why like you may see like the missed tackle number like on our team a little bit higher than normal, but then you look and you see these averages like running averages are not that high because the first guy may miss, and that's like almost on purpose. Like it's almost a stop the momentum, and then our other guys are finishing the play. So I just think we swarm to the ball, like we play our brand of football, like we'll be okay. Are they going to have good plays? Are they, Keelan Lacey, will he be able to hit one, pick up 20, 30? Yeah, he's probably going to hit one eventually, right? I mean, it's hard to completely shut a guy out. We've seen even Notre Dame game, like they had the one run to 24 at some part in the game where he got outside, but for the most part, like we do a very good job of containing the running back and get him on the ground. So I think we'll see another version of that, to be honest with you. And he had 300 carries, by the way. Like, that's a lot of carries. Like, look, I get it. Everyone's like banged up at this season, but 300 carries is kind of like a little bit wild. But hey, to each his own. We'll see how like his body holds up throughout this game, just taking blows from our safeties and run support, Teray, Ruben Bain getting off blocks, like all those jabs throughout a football game. Like, how many of those are you going to be able to take? And if you look at the Ohio State game, I just think a lot of those guys eventually quit as we got later in the game from just getting hit. Like, I'm talking about Jacoby Thomas, Zachariah Poyser, and we talk about like routine tackles, but you can hear the collisions, and we talk about that almost every play. 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, and you just getting hit and hit and hit. Eventually, your body my shoulders a little banged up, and my lower body a little aggravated. Jeremiah Smith got his head almost took off. Then you see Carnell Tate alligator arming passes because he's seeing these guys getting hit. Like, that's just the mentality. So I just think we'll see how someone like with 300 carries, like how he's going to absorb some of these blows he's going to take. And if he can withstand it, we'll see.
I mean, when your smallest player, which is Ethan O'Connor, doing suplexes, you know what I mean? He's the smallest guy we have that we play. Man, and he's suplexing guys.
Hey, when he suplexed him, there's a few happy moments in my life, right? There's a few, but man, I was like,
only a few.
It was a few. Hey, P, I'm not gonna lie. There's a few happy moments now. I ain't gonna lie. There's a few, but that one was up there. I was like, thank God. And there's a little backstory, man, but it's another that's a story for like after
we're gonna have to do the what is it, the Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco show. We're gonna have to have one of those Canes Inside edition, man.
Yeah, man, it's a funny story, man, but it involved a pair of glasses that would end up missing, that I had. They're like $400. They end up missing when somebody in a group of their homies was around. So it felt good, man, just watching somebody get slammed on their face. I mean, it was just like, yes, thank you. And then they be doing a lot of talking about the U in general. So like, it just was like, yes, thank God. Like,
how'd you like the asking for the flag after that?
Man, I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. Ask for the flag. I was going crazy because like, just like for me, like I get like a lot of the trash talk, but like I just felt like I feel like a lot of kids was trying to kick the program when it was down.
Disrespect, yeah.
And it was just like one of those, like, you see the dog dying and you still like go over there and kick it in the ass. Like, that's how I felt, right? When I'm just seeing a lot of these guys tweet coming out. So it was just very ironic that, we're playing this team with these players, and then two, like, now they getting slammed on their necks, asking for flags and begging to the ref. Like,
last game of his college career.
Like, the ref is not going to flag O'Connor for thinking you caught the football and slamming you on your neck. He didn't know you dropped the pass, my brother. Like, I got slammed like that in high school. Like, that's part of the play. That. Like, that's kind of where I'm like, bro, that's just like part of the game. But I think at that point, man, they were just looking for flags instead of looking for smoke.
I think he weighs 20 pounds more than him too, at least.
Yeah, bro, he's a way bigger body than O'Connor's. About the same size as me, man.
I wanted to bring this question up here from David Eisenberg because it's been asked to me. I don't know how to answer it, honestly. Aman Richards, former Miami tight end, announces transfer to Indiana yesterday. And the question's asking, look, if Miami and Indiana play, he has our playbook. He has a lot of information. Does this come into play at all? I mean,
shoot. At this point, I don't think they. I could be wrong. I really don't know. I could find out, but
He'll be on campus probably in Indiana. I don't know, what his involvement with the team will be like, but he'll be there. I'm sure semester's starting now in the next week.
yeah, I mean, look, I don't know, right? It's a great question, great point, because with the new portal stuff and the timing, like I don't think we've really seen this where guys are portaling to like other schools like live during the playoffs. So we'll see if that comes into a factor. Will Indiana even beat Oregon for this to even matter? Listen, if I'm a betting guy, I'm going with the you don't beat a team twice. I don't think we really seen it that much. So I think Oregon will win anyway, but that's just me. So I guess we'll fact check this after next week sometime to see if it comes true. But yeah, we'll see if they can even beat Oregon. But that's a great point. You never know. But does he even know the playbook enough? Does he know the scheme we're going into this game with, or if we were to play them, like does he know that? Because look, a playbook is like over 100 plays. But when you game plan, you're only putting like 50, 60
he left the team before Christmas. It may have even been before the A&M game. I'm not 100% sure on that timeline. But
yeah, he's been hurt like
weeks, so he's
been hurt all year. So like when you're injured, when you're in meetings, I ain't gonna lie, you're not even really paying attention for real. Like you're just really in there, just kind of like you're writing down some notes and stuff, but you're not really like repping and practicing like the reps for real to really know the philosophy and the why to the test, because everyone has like similar plays, but the why and the philosophy behind it is different for a lot of teams, where I don't think he would have enough information to, because think about it, David Cooney was at Miami for what, 5, 6, 7, 8 years and went to A&M, and I think I don't really think that factored that much, as far as like the offense. I just think the weather had more of a factor than the actual play call, and I don't think they had any tips on our formations and, plays like that. Cause, it's relatively easy to kind of add in a wrinkle and some stuff here and there. And plus you don't want to be the dude, right, to go into a coaching staff and give them a whole playbook of plays and they be wrong. Like, I don't think you want that on your jacket. So I think it's easy to just let the staff do their thing. They may ask you a few questions about players and, what are their weaknesses, stuff like that. But I don't think when it comes to just outright plays, that's going to be like a big factor.
Yeah, you see it in the pros with coaches and players, so it's not new in that. I think you see in college with coaches too that leave early, they get fired mid-season or something. So I'm not too worried about that. Listen, if we're talking about that next week, things went pretty good for the Miami Hurricanes, so we'll worry about that one. Aman, I got a question for you, going back to 2016 season, applying it to now. But before we get there, want to talk about my friends at KashKick, KashKick, one of the top apps in the country, 4.5 plus average rating for the KashKick app, 1.5 million plus downloads, trying to kill the time before the game. I know we're not giving you that much free time because we've dropped 1 million videos, but in between those videos and the game, you want to just kill some time. Download the KashKick app, play games on your phone, all the games that you like to play consolidated right there. You can play the games, you browse the internet, share your opinions, and while you're doing that, you are making real money. It goes to your PayPal account directly. It's not going to replace your main income. This is money on the side, and this is certainly giving your free time a raise. KashKick, KashKick, all legit. Go to the App Store, one of the top apps in the country. So, Aman, I wanted to talk about Ole Miss and the way that they get rid of the ball quick. We've talked about it a ton. You have Ruben Bain, you have Messidor. Our pass rush is our strength. We have the best pass rush in the country, but SMU, Louisville were able to neutralize it to a degree by getting rid of the ball quick. Now, I think back to your 2016 team with Brad Kaya. It felt like from the outside, some of the changes that were made, not only giving you the ball more because you were really coming on strong that year, but also getting rid of it quick. The offensive line had some struggles, and the ball was getting out quicker. Brad was just getting it out to you, Njoku, and some of those guys who can make plays. So just being in that situation yourself and now seeing Ole Miss that they're not going to drop back and pass and block Miami. At least it doesn't seem probable if they take too much time. But the way they play and getting rid of it quick, how do you see that affecting this matchup? And how is it to play in that kind of offense?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I mean, getting the ball out quick, getting it to your playmakers, like that's just like a quick fix for a team that has like a really good pass rush, or your offensive line isn't really that great at pass protection. That's the two kind of solutions. Yeah, 2016. I mean, I think offensive line was okay. There weren't anything like elite. Obviously Brad was getting sacked a ton, and yeah, you got to get to the quick game. You got to get the ball out, RPOs. Tight end, to the tight end. Obviously, he's a closer guy to the line of scrimmage. So I think that style of play worked for us towards the end of the season. And if we were doing it in the beginning, we probably would have went undefeated that season as well. But you live and you learn. So when it comes to and Ole Miss, I think they do a lot of that quick game, get the ball out, almost like predetermined reads, I guess, like based on the defense and the zone coverage, right? I think the quarterback has, kind of almost like two plays, right? All right, we hand it off. If the safety moves, we're getting it out quick. Like I said, I think I'm curious to see how Heatherman makes his clock speed up. And when I say speed up, where like you're changing the picture on him pre-snap, you're sending nickel blitzes. Like, how is he going to respond to that? How is he going to respond to edge players actually playing their assignment, keeping contained, right? Not giving him free lanes. Like, how will he respond to that? And I don't know. I don't know if he's been tested all year in that aspect. We'll see. I think Florida did a really good job overall, like, of, containing him, getting pressure on him, getting some sacks. LSU, like Pete was saying, had a really good game plan until infamous pick six was just somehow called back. I don't know how that was not a, I don't know how that play didn't count, but there's stuff on film where you can attack his weaknesses, and I think that's what we'll do. I just, for the fan base, like, look, man, when he completes a pass, just don't freak out. Like, just don't start saying, this player's trash and all that. Dude completes a pass for 10 yards, and it's like the world ends sometimes with our fan base watching the game. But I think like schematic wise, like, I just think we match up very well. And I know, like, they do the high tempo stuff, but you got to look at it where you go 3 and out a little bit faster as well. Like, that's the con with the high tempo offense, where yeah, you're getting a high play count, but are you putting together actual long drives? You're going to keep putting your defense on the field if you're not converting. If you're going 3 and out in 2 minutes and your defense right back out there, like, how is that helping a defense that's statistically not the best? I mean, so I think there's pros and cons to this as well. And as long as we do our part and we get them, keep them off of their timing, where first down, they're not picking up 5-6 yards. Second down, they're not making it 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. If you keep them in 2nd and long, 3rd and long, I think it's going to get them off what they do very well. And I think that's going to be one of the other keys for the defense, just getting that high tempo offense out of rhythm and off the field.
They had, I mean, look, you got to give them credit, Ole Miss, in terms of the last, since November 1st, really very similar to Miami, as they hit their stride, I think, at the right time of year. So they're playing great. I mean, they're playing great ball. They also had some close battle. Talk about the LSU game. Washington State, they were down in the 3rd quarter in that Washington State game.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting one. Only scored 24 points in that game, but that's just, that game was so long ago. They've been rolling, man. And Trinidad has been rolling. I mean, he's thrown for 300 and pretty much 4 out of the last 5. The only one that he didn't was Tulane, and they were already up so much they didn't need to throw it around as much. But yeah, they're playing great ball at this time of year.
P, you want my honest opinion?
Talk to me.
I think the lane stuff like triggers something in the entire roster, where I feel like, I don't know if it wears off. I don't know if it's something that wears off. We're going to see, but I just think they're playing with more so a point to prove, as far as like Lane almost like abandoning them. And like, yeah, he's saying like, yeah, want them to win the Natty and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, like, you left, like, when we're at our, like, you left when we're ascending, right? You almost left in a way where you almost figured we're going to end up dropping a game or something, right? The way it kind of looks. And I just think that players are using that as like a little bit of internal like motivation. Even the coach, like, if you just watch some of the interviews, just the way he's saying, yeah, Charlie Weiss called plays that it went lane off. Like, I just feel like the team is using that as almost like a motivation to like continue this like path that they're on. Thing is that like, are you playing more so off like motivation, or are you playing like more so like real? I don't like real football. I just feel like a lot of it is just like them playing with that extra edge. But it's like, how long
They don't
does
have that. You don't think they have that electric juice?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Is it like the real juice, or are you
think
more
the
so
juice
just
wears
playing, like,
off?
to
That's what you're
prove like your old coach wrong? I don't know, and like I don't know, man. It's just something I've been thinking about like for the last like 2 weeks. They've been in the playoffs. Like I know they played Tulane, they played Georgia already, so it's just like, all right, now you actually got to like prep for a legit team, right? Without your coach, so you're not using the old gameplay. You got to use something new. Like you got to come up with something of your own now. And it's like, are you going to be able to do it? Can you do it? Like you got coaches that are taking visits and they're at LSU during the day, Ole Miss at night. Like how long can that like energy like last you?
I saw I forget which national reporter it was, or pundit, I should say, and they said like, I wonder if where Pete Golding and Ole Miss are right now in the semifinal is farther than Lane Kiffin will ever get at LSU with his team. Which I'm a believer that Lane will do good things there, but it's so hard to get to this point, man, that you just don't know.
Yeah. I mean, listen. I like Lane I think Lane's a cool guy. Like obviously recruiting me, all that type of stuff. It's just like I don't understand like I don't want to say obsession, because I think that sounds a little bit disrespectful. I think he won enough football games to be more respectable coach. But it's like they're treating it like Nick Saban like came back and was like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I just feel like it's like, look, dude, he has a lot to prove. He's never won a national championship. Like, I don't think he won the conference ever in the SEC either. So it's like, and they're gonna say, yeah, LSU more talent, more 5-star. I get it. But it's just like one of those things where it's like I don't know, man. Like I feel like it's a lot more of the like name recognition, and people are familiar with the name and the offense, and versus like, because it's like, I mean, Ole Miss they look a little bit better in my opinion than they did with them. And like I said, that's why I'm like, is it like the playing with motivation that has it looking like that, or is it like schematically just like that's like they're a legit better team without their former head coach? I don't know. We gonna find out, because like I said, this is the first team they're playing that they haven't played in the playoffs. Like they played, like I said, they played Tulane already. They played Georgia, so it's a little bit easier to prep for a team you already played. Now you got to actually come with something. You got to actually come with it now. You know, we talk about semifinals, all the pressure, you know, and I made the same point when we play A&M. Like we talk about pressure and like how those kids going, like, yeah, oh, we played Georgia. Like, I get it. Georgia statistically ain't better than us either. So what are we really arguing? But are they ready? I don't know. I don't know, Pete. I don't know. I think they're going to come out. They're going to score some points, but I just do think they haven't seen a defense overall from top, middle, bottom. I just don't think they've seen these type of guys where we're in the style of play, like the physicality we play with. Like, I don't see it, Pete. I'm just gonna be. I don't see it. I don't think they're gonna be ready. I don't even think they're gonna score over 21 points. That's me. I don't think they're getting over 21.
It's hard, man, because we were talking about house money the first two games. Now I'm looking around, like, I think Miami's the best team, period. So it's like, shoot, the pressure is on a little bit now, because you're talking about this is not an opportunity that comes around all the time.
Yeah.
You're not going to have Ruben next year. You're not going to have Mao. You have a whole new team. It's always a new team every year. So it's like, man, I used to be just happy to kind of watch this team in the playoffs. Now I'm feeling nervous for these guys, because they got the most talented team left in the tournament.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think the guys, like, they're very like confident in their game plan and just a style of play. Because I think if you watch, and I don't want to use other teams, I hate doing that, but if you think about like Clemson last year, yeah, I know they lost, but if you look at like the momentum they caught at the point of the season, they just started winning games and blowing teams. I think like we caught like that, get hot at the right time where we can sustain it. Now it's just two games left. That's all you have. Like, and I think that's a little bit better to like deal with as a competitor. Like, we got 2 more games for everything, right? So I think you can kind of lay your body on the line a little bit for 2 more games. And I just think that's a mentality, man. We're right here. This is stuff these guys have worked for all season, right? We've been through the ups and downs. I mean, we go from the Louisville to the SMU to the committee, the selection day Sunday, to on the road, A&M, to now you're playing the reigning national champions that was projected to win the champion. People didn't give us a chance, really. The betting odds definitely didn't. They didn't give us 9.5 underdogs. I mean, I'm just saying, like, we had the largest point spread out of any of the games.
Real quick, Mox, we got to get you out of here in a minute. The prediction, you kind of hinted at it. You said you don't think Ole Miss's offense is going to be doing what they've been doing. So what are you thinking?
Here we go, man. Let me pull up the Carfax, man. So this is my number, right? And last week, I think I was off. I gave you the wrong number on the last one. I my one prediction I put down, it was 24-13. That was my prediction I messed up the number. I think I said 20-13, but this week I got us winning 28-16. That's the number. That's what I'm rolling with. Like I said, I think our defense is very fundamentally sound. And outside of 1 or 2 like coverage busts a game, like outside like 1, usually we get like 1. Those are where a lot of these like big yardage plays come from, throughout the year. And I just think but the other 98% of the game, like our guys are they're in cover, like they're in great coverage. Like we don't really give up the big play down the field that often. Like you may get your 5-yard out routes and speed outs and stuff like that. We come up tackle. But quarterbacks are trigger happy, man. Eventually, like they don't want to keep doing that for 4 quarters. They don't want to throw 5-yard passes. And that's where we get quarterbacks confused, where they don't want to take the check down all game long. They want to eventually push it down the field, and then they hold the ball. And that's when our guys get home and we make plays. So when I combine our D-line, right, our secondary, and the physicality we play with, like we're going to see if they can we can see if they want to play for all 4 quarters. And when I say we're going to see if they want to play, because I know our guys are willing to do it. I've seen it. Are they willing to go all 4 quarters with the type of style we play on defense and offense?
Motore will.
Hey, listen, they're like Jazz, man. Eventually they hurt. They hurt eventually. So yeah, 28-16. I just don't see them getting over 21 points. I know they've scored average 39 every game. I get that. So did a lot of teams, So did a lot of teams we played. We keep them below their average pretty often. So defense won championships, man. That's it. We had Cam Ward last year, no more offense, and that shit didn't help us. It didn't help us. So I get the name and scoring points is all great, fine and dandy, but hey, I think I like watching our defense get 3 and outs and get off the field and create turnovers. I think I like that a little bit more.
You look at last year, Texas had a great defense. Ohio State had a great defense. Notre Dame was mostly defense. Penn State was almost all defense. And that was your Final Four, ultimately, with Notre Dame and Ohio State. So, and Will Howard, Riley Leonard, good quarterbacks, but not transcendent Cam Ward type. So that's kind of what it happens at this time of year.
When I watched, what's the quarterback for Penn State in 15? What's the guy?
Oh, Drew Aller.
Drew Aller didn't complete a pass to a wide receiver. I said, brother, we just need to get in the playoffs. Because if he can be in the semifinals without completing a pass to a wide receiver for 4 quarters, my brother, let's go get this defense right and just let us get in and we got a chance. Because we're going to at least complete the pass. We're going to complete some passes. God. But yeah, man, when I seen the playoffs last year and the style, like all the defenses, man, I was just like, if our defense, and when I watched practice, I seen the way they were, formations and the different looks. You got the Keontae Scott in the slide. You got the corners bumping and running. I said, okay, all right. We got speed packages and shit. I said, okay, now this looks a little different, Now we just gotta hope it translate on game day, and it did. So that's what got me confident. And yeah, man, I think this is gonna be a very good game, but I think the trenches win at the end of the day, and we have on both sides.
Yeah, that 0 reception game, the receiver dipped out of there, went to Ole Miss. Now we got to play him. That's
Harrison
Wallace.
Yeah.
Wallace is one of those guys on the field. He's good. I watch him. You're like, man, this guy's a good player. How do you catch 0 passes in a
that's number 2
game?
That's number 2 for is that number 2 for him or
yeah, that's
Wallace. I don't.
I'll tell you right now.
That 222. Yeah, excuse me.
Number 2. Okay, yeah, no, he's a good receiver. I like his game. I like his game. That's a good pickup by them. I know he made some plays last game. I think he's been pretty reliable for them all season. I know they got a smaller guy. I think number 11 is his number. Plays outside like Ziri, but
Deuce Alexander.
He makes a lot of contested catches, for a small guy. Very quick in and out his break. So look, it's a challenge, man, but I think we've answered a lot of challenges so far, just mentally and physically as a team throughout the year, and yet another one. So I think we'll be ready.
Mon, always good, man. Next one, hopefully, will be a preview of that home game.
Yeah, man. Look, as always, go Canes. We gonna see you guys next Tuesday, and 28-16. That's my prediction, and hey, like that boy Keelan Marion said, just lace your boots, man. Lace your boots. Time to go to work.
Lace your boots up. Ahmmon Richards, the great one. Appreciate you.
Alrighty, man. Thank you, guys.
Awesome, man. Always
Great
fun.
stuff there, as always, yeah.
I hadn't heard that thing. That was some interesting lore right there from Aman.
To me, one of the most interesting things that I hadn't thought of was that he hasn't faced a defense for the first time in over a month now.
Right.
I had not thought about that whatsoever.
That's true. Now, look, the one thing I'll say is those coaches are the ones that stayed. So it's not like prepping for a new defense. But I guess the same thing you could say. Oh, wait, what am I saying? I'm backwards. You're right. I'm talking in circles here. You're right. Sorry. Disregard everything I said. I'm an idiot. I'm already thinking about the delicious croquetas at Islas Canarias Cuban Express, which you can get at the Dayland Mall Dining Pavilion right there in the heart of Miami. 6 different types of croquetas, 7 different types of croquetas. They're so good, they'll make you forget what you're talking about. But they got a deal, by the way, 50% off Tequeño. So for those who are not familiar, because some of the stuff all kind of sounds the same if you're not in it. Tequeños, although Islas Canarias is a Cuban restaurant, Tequeños are a Venezuelan dish. And in honor of potential freedom here in Venezuela, Tequeños 50% off at Islas Canarias Cuban Express. So, we're making it worldwide here. Shout out to Venezuela. And if you want just the traditional Cuban stuff, they got that as well. But 50% off Tequeños at Islas Canarias Cuban Express. So how about that? Got me slipping. But that was a great point by Aman Richards there with respect to that you're dealing with Sam Levitt. You're going to Million Steakhouse at Sorsby, then Levitt, and you got to worry about a defense you haven't seen yet, personnel you haven't seen yet. Personnel is pretty unique because they could say all this BS about they play defense like that in the SEC. I mean, they don't. Now, I will say, Pete, I went back and watched the Oklahoma game. Ole Miss did very well against Oklahoma. I was impressed.
I watched that game too.
The running game, I thought Oklahoma had a pretty good beat on it with Lacey. But in terms of pass protection, and Oklahoma gets a lot of sacks. They had our Mason Thomas in that game. They were able to neutralize that pass rush. Different pass rush than what Miami brings as far as the power. But that was a pretty impressive job. And it was like a rainy game. It was on the road. I don't know if the rain was hurting the get off of the pass rushers. That could have been a thing too. But overall, they did limit the pass rush pretty good.
I like this comment right here from Marquise. He says, quick fact, number 11 for Ole Miss, Deuce Alexander. His dad played ball with me in college as we were also teammates with Ruben Bain's dad. Our team group chat is going crazy this week. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is great, man. Shout out to what team is that? Let us know in the comments. Shout out to that team, man. Marquez, if you got a kid, he's got to go to the U, man. Don't let him go to Missouri or to Ole Miss, I should say. It's gonna be interesting, man. You wanna get into the portal here? Let's talk.
Yeah, I know we have a list of some stuff we got to get to.
Get national.
Breaking news just happened. A couple pieces of breaking news. One, something that was rumored, but Austin Simmons from Ole Miss signing with Missouri. I think that's a really good fit for him. I texted you about that one the other day. I thought that was a really nice fit for him there with Drinkwitz. and then Byron Brown officially signing with Auburn.
Yeah, and let's just, why don't we just start it right now? So those who are listening, maybe you heard this segment yesterday. We are going around the country when it comes to the transfer portal. A lot of this impacts Miami, not all of it, but I think in general, just when Miami's trying to win a national championship and just being a college football fan, you want to know what's happening in the national landscape. And what I found, Peter's found, if you don't track this portal stuff daily, you're going to wake up and be like, well, this guy's on that team. What? This team is there. And then one team, Miami's defense was the worst in the country last year. Felt like not quite that bad, but it felt like that. Now one of the best. One big reason, of course, Teray, Keontae Scott, Jacoby Thomas, right? So, and David Blay. So portal is important because what happens one year changes overnight because of the portal and other things in the modern era of college football. So yes, starting with those two moves that just broke, not like I said, not unexpected. SEC moves, they're picking up players. From an Auburn standpoint, Pete, what do you think? Because of course it makes sense to get Byron Brown to follow his coach from USF and Golish to Auburn. When you install the offense, you have a leader, you have a great player. I think physically, Byron Brown will be just fine in the SEC. The SEC is not what it used to be physically. Brown is a big, strong, athletic player. I don't think there's going to be any problem with that part of it. He knows the offense. I think it all makes sense. My only hesitation with this one is you had Deuce Knight, who's bigger, faster, more talented than Brown, younger, more eligibility, but why run him off? Probably going to go.
Do we know that they ran him off? I mean, I don't know that we know that they ran him off. I mean, he entered the portal pretty, at least officially everyone entered the portal the last couple of days, but there was talk about him entering the portal for weeks. There was talk about him entering the portal during the season because he wasn't playing. I don't know that they pushed him out. I mean, Byron Brown is their guy, and they probably think that they can at least have more of a respectable start to their tenure there with him as their guy because he understands things. But I don't know that Deuce Knight necessarily wanted to stay there.
It's a great point. Canes Cat Heat says they only got Deuce Knight because Kenyatta Watson. Now he's a favorite to go to BC because of Kenyatta Watson.
Well, there's also Ole Miss talk. There's also Ole Miss talk
a lot. Yeah. No, but you made a good point, Pete. You're right. He might have just wanted to go to Ole Miss.
I think he was upset. There was a lot of talk that he was upset he didn't play this year. They were already bad, and they didn't start him until I don't know who they were playing. It was like Gardner Webb or something like that at the end of the year. They were playing a bad team that they threw him out there, and he scored a touchdown in his first play, ran it like 70, 80 yards. Mercer. Yeah. Sorry to disrespect Mercer, but and Gardner Webb for that matter. But yeah, I don't know that he was all that happy there. I don't have any intel on it, and look, I'm a fan of Golish, but Golish doesn't exactly bring a ton of name recognition to. It's not like if Lane Kiffin was the guy there.
Yeah, you know what? You've convinced me. I'm taking back what I said. If Byron Brown, if Deuce Knight's out the door, Byron Brown's a home run. Because I do think not only is it just great continuity, but this guy's an actual real player. It's not like you're taking someone from a lower level up just because they know the offense and their physical traits don't translate. I think this guy's going to run really well against SEC defenses. He's still got to improve his passing, but he's a big athletic dude. Of all the guys we played this year, Pete, talk about the Hurricanes, and you're now in the semifinals, so you've played a lot of players. I honestly thought seeing him live, he's one of the most physically impressive players that we saw all year. The defense destroyed USF's offense. They were beat up. But, he was standing that tall. He was taking hits. He was making some throws. He just looked the part. And I was impressed by him after seeing him live, even though the stats won't necessarily reflect it.
Yeah, I think obviously too, playing with some bigger guys in front of him with the style of play that he plays. And I think USF was so up-tempo, they're going to want to be up-tempo and have some athletic linemen as well. But I think you'll see better talent around him, which should help. I wonder what he can – the arm, I still think he's limited in what he can do in terms of spreading it out downfield. And I wonder if SEC defenses will really, really load the box against them. But, yeah, I like the fit.
Yeah, so good move for Auburn. They're securing their quarterback. He'll be better than all the quarterbacks they've had in recent memory. It'll be fun to watch that offense in the SEC. Austin Simmons to Missouri. been expected. What I think is interesting is, I mean, Zoller's had some moments there for Missouri, and he's a highly ranked player, top 10 player. Originally from Pennsylvania, I don't know if he would leave. I don't see why he would. I think this, to me, seems like they're setting up a competition between two talented quarterbacks that aren't necessarily costing you a fortune. They're actually costing you probably less than Bo Pribula last year. And let the best man win, righty versus lefty. I don't know what you think there.
Yeah, I don't. If you're bringing a guy like this in, I don't know that he's going there to compete. I think he's going in there to be the guy, right, D? And we're both big fans of the talent. Obviously, we've been talking about Trinidad Chambliss all show here, so we also understand what happened there. He got banged up and got Wally pipped, but at the same time, like, I still believe in the talent, and I like the landing spot for him because they were in the mix this year. They stumbled down the stretch there, but big fan of what Coach Drinkwitz does, and they are probably going to bring some other premier talents. One thing we've seen them do is they will spend big on a couple guys here or there in the portal, and would expect them to try to surround him with some weapons here.
Yeah, apparently I just confirmed they did retain Zoller, so they'll both be there. So we'll see how that thing plays out. But I think with Simmons, he's always reminded me of Tua. Maybe it's the left-handed way he throws, but the way he moves, just the way the ball comes out. He reminds me of Tua. I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, Tua, like he wasn't one of the best players in the country in college and a top 10 pick and led the NFL in passing before he got all beat up and started making stupid mistakes."
I mean, how would you compare him to Sagapolatelli? Similar build? No,
I think Sagatelli's. I think JSK is a little stronger, like a little bigger and stronger. Okay. Maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe. But Simmons also has got some big time arm talent of his own. I mean, you talked about the baseball background, and we forget how young he is too. Like, I think he's going to continue. He'll grow into his body as he's only going to be going into his third year now, right? So
you graduate in 2 years.
Yeah.
He's a graduate transfer as a junior. It's a pretty unique deal with this guy. So, right. Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch what he does in the SEC. As you see the SEC chairs, the musical chairs, start to move around a little bit with those two. But I know you've been waiting, Pete, to dump on FSU here, as am I, as they made some moves, some good, some questionable. So let's start with the good news for FSU, in that they landed Trey Wisner out of the portal from Texas, Dallas, Texas native. One of the better backs coming into the season this year, 6'1", 194, played well in the playoffs, 597 yards, 131 carries, 4.6 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns. It was better in 2024, was a 1,000-yard back. But look, there's a reason why Texas's running game wasn't the best this year, was the reason why they were shopping so hard in the portal for some of these big names. Wisner, he's a good player, and he's an experienced player. He played well in big games. I don't know what FSU was paying him, but if FSU is allocating a lot of their budget to a veteran back that's not super dynamic, I'm not sure what the play is here. But I don't know. We'll get into this. The bad news.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, FSU's biggest move thus far has been retaining Deuce Robinson. To me, he didn't go to the NFL, so obviously now they're trying to stockpile some other veteran weapons around the next piece that we'll talk about here in a second. I think, there's, like you said, the value is always going to be, we don't know what the number is, but in a vacuum, I think it's a solid pickup for them, considering what they're looking for. They need something, man. They need any sort of guys who can make plays in the run game. It was not there this year. I know they had some young talent they were excited about that really didn't come to fruition for them, but I want to see what they do with the offensive line. That's going to continue to be a bigger question for me.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, right? Is that, like, yeah, you're helping your running game, which, by the way, statistically they were not a bad running game, but they had Castellanos. Like, the system does a lot of that. So Chroma, I thought, was pretty good. I'm surprised.
Usman Chroma, we're fans of the talent. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to it'll be a 1-2 punch. If so, that's a pretty good 1-2 punch. Or if he'll jump in later, who knows with the way FSU's been going. But I mean, your running game was good last year, mostly because of scheme. And this guy's not going to turn 20-yard plays into 50-yard plays, right? So I don't get it, but we'll see. In terms of what the bad news is, that's the first piece of bad news is Dizzy Dean Post. They don't got a line, but you know what piece of bad news you want to start first? The guy going in or the guy going out? Because I think they're both pieces of bad news, quite frankly.
We'll start with the guys going out.
All right, so you watch FSU. There were not many bright spots, but probably two of the bright spots were the Desir twins, the defensive linemen who came out of Miami, Florida, Norland High School. We saw these guys in camp, the identical Desir twins. And I thought they were good. They were strong.
I think I was
kids.
probably higher on them than you were at the time, but I also think that Miami wasn't huge on them at the time, so that maybe slighted our visions a little bit of them.
Well, I think what the thing with them is when you see them in the camp, I thought they were very professional. I liked how they carried themselves. Like they were in shape going in. They were big kids, like strong, bulky, and then they were like serious about the drills. They were a little tight. So what I kind of walked away saying, I like the size, I like the professional attitude, but they're not like the most fluid pass rushers where you're going to put them on the edge and they're going to be going side to side and really doing a ton. As far as like what Miami's recruiting, the Marquise Lightfoots of the world, Hayden Lowe. What changed, where I was wrong and where they really, to me, upgraded their ceiling is the move inside. Like these guys became now defensive tackles. And at defensive tackle, they play both, but defensive tackles, they are, particularly Mandrell, they are very, very hard to deal with because of their movement skills, which maybe are a little tight on the outside. On the inside, they're plus athletes, and they carried the weight well. Again, they are professional type of kids. So these are the guys you want to build around if you're FSU. You got two guys out of Miami that Miami probably should have gotten. Right there, you see the news, entering the portal. Pete, do you think this is like a shakedown attempt like all the other good young FSU players to jump in the portal, get more money, and come back? And
I mean, it could be. If I'm them, as much as we talk about FSU, like they obviously played a lot this year. At least Daryl played a lot this year, right? But they both played a lot this year. What am I saying? Yeah. They both played a lot. One of them, I forget which one I think is a little bit better than the other.
Mandrell's the better one.
Mandrell, yeah. But they're both playing. Like, I'm a big proponent, D, of if they're playing and producing and you're already getting these accolades, like if they're willing to pay you, of course, what you need to get paid. But we'll see. I think Miami talent is obviously there, but there's some stuff to work through, I would say. And Miami wants to add a couple bodies on the defensive line, but they won't be cheap.
By the way, they also lost Amari Williams, as is noted in the comments.
Amari Williams, who I like,
defensive end from Florida, a really athletic guy, high school, big time recruit, can play both sides, obviously. So he's athletic, a reclassed kid that was training to be a 5-star. So he's out the door again, a talent who flashed from a pass rushing and athletic standpoint. Canes Cat Heat 305 says his agent said yesterday's price is not today's price on IG. Look,
he's right about that.
Here's what I think. If they go back to FSU, it's a loss because they publicly jumped in the portal and they got more money out of your budget. So it's really what has hurt you last couple of years with Daryl Jackson, Patrick Payton, Josh Farmer, all these guys that extorted you. Then you talk about then you talk about they leave, you're losing all your talented guys. You don't really have other ones. So I think FSU is in big trouble. And as good as a Wisner addition could be, and he's a good player in a vacuum, like you said, that money not going on the lines, when you watch how Miami's just steamrolling teams with that to me is a very questionable team composition standpoint. But I guess you could spend money on certain positions like running back when you go cheap at quarterback, Pete. And I don't know if this player is coming as a backup, which he did at Auburn last year, if he's coming in as a sure starter or if it's a competition. But interesting move at quarterback for Florida State, Pete.
I'm already laughing at this. There's FSU fan has a tweet here. I'm gonna bring this up right now.
So Ashton Daniels, by the way, the Auburn backup, formerly of Stanford, right? I believe.
Yeah, Stanford previously. We got a tweet here from Tomahawk Sports says everybody needs to chill about the Ashton Daniels news. The fan base had the same reaction about Tommy, and he gave us our best season since 2024.
I missed the punchline there.
Oh, that was a good one, man.
I like that. I like the setup, man. I like the setup.
Let me pull up the actual
climb.
tweet
Hashtag
of
climb.
him. Yeah, let me pull up the actual tweet of him signing or committing to Florida State here, man. That was a good one.
There he is right there. Yeah, he he was a backup. Auburn brought in 3 quarterbacks last year between Deuce Knight out of high school, Jackson Arnold was brought in to start, Ashton Daniels who was brought in to compete, and none of them did anything. I think Deuce is the talented one that I'd want, which is probably why he's going to go to the best school out of all these guys leaving Auburn. But if Ashton Daniels is coming in to be to start after a year being the backup on a team that didn't have a quarterback, they're really telling you we're just going to run the ball. Maybe that's why they brought in Wisner. Maybe they'll find some.
That's what Malzahn wants to do. I've seen Bud Elliott, who we respect. We know he's an FSU homer, but they asked him on Twitter about it, and he said something like, "Look, I think the strategy might be go cheap on a quarterback. Yeah. Go get some. You retain. You spend big on your number one receiver and Deuce Robinson. Try to go get him a couple. Get him a good run game. Spend on a couple tackles, and get the defense right. And it's going again. It's zagging when everyone's zigging at the quarterback position. But I don't know what. Like the problem is, what do you have to sell if you're Florida State right now? It's not really an optimistic situation coming in if you're a quarterback. I would have been more if I'm Florida State. They should really have done something like the Lincoln Kineholz kid from
Ohio
State. Something along those lines. A kid who maybe even wasn't a 5-star, but has shown enough and has some background. That I would go more in that direction as opposed to this sort of thing. Maybe they still might. We don't, like you just talked about them. That's still open for them to do something like that. And then you have your guy that you run. But not a good situation right now for Florida State fans.
Yeah, and we talked about it last year with Castellanos, the same situation, and we're laughing at this now. I think everybody's laughing at this now, particularly because the Noel fans are so sad about it. I understand it from the standpoint of raising your floor because you say it's a system fit, which Castellanos was a system fit. It makes them more liable to pull an upset. Like one thing I said last year when they got Castellanos, I'm like, man, they're dangerous to pull an upset. I hope it's not us. I was nervous about that game. Obviously, Miami dominated them.
They almost had us. They lined up for that onside kick, man.
Yeah, I was a little nervous for that, but that was a domination. Alabama, though, was the one that got caught. So when you have a quarterback that at least has experience and some ability and fits a system, you can catch teams. It's not like they're going to be totally incompetent. We'll see what the offensive line looks like. That might make this whole operation not functional. But if they get a functional offensive line, this guy can function in the offense and he has experience. It's not like he has zero talent. But what's the ceiling? I mean, if you're going to go down this running quarterback route, I would have just gone, and instead of going cheap, I would have spent money and got Deuce Knight. I would have said, Ole Miss, whatever they're paying you, we'll pay more. And you'll start, and we're going to build the whole thing around you. This guy, Coach Cam Newton, you're Cam Newton. We're going to build the whole deal around you. And maybe he is Cam Newton. Cam Newton developed over time. I'm saying like that's what you would sell with Malzahn. I don't know why you would.
Let me tell you something. I'm looking at their ACC schedule next year. Not easy. That's as tough as of an ACC schedule as you could get. They don't have Georgia Tech, but not only do they have at Bryant-Denny early in the season, right? But they've got Miami. They've got at Miami, at Pitt, at Louisville, Virginia, SMU, NC State, and Clemson. And I mean that's a tough ACC schedule, man.
And Bailey, if he stays at NC State, that's a game they lost last year. Like you said, that's a tough one. That's the easiest one of all of them. So, yeah, man, I don't see the upside, and I can see definite downside. I think on paper he raises the floor, but it's not like Castellanos sucked last year. I mean, like you said, he delivered their best season since 2024.
Jay Campbell says the lawsuit built that schedule.
That's the best lawsuit ever, man. I love those lawyers for FSU and Clemson. They got that success fee built in, so Miami's getting all the money for being the best team in the conference, and they suck. They paid for the lawyers, then they immediately started sucking, and now Miami's reaping all the benefits.
I don't think anyone's really ever said that's a tough ACC schedule right there, man.
ACC 8-4 in the playoffs right now. You know, I got to say, man, I was wrong about one thing. I was wrong about a lot of things, but I was wrong about one thing in this regard, which is before the season, we did the portal thing, and I saw so many players leave the ACC who turned out to be great, by the way. Mendoza won the Heisman. You see secondary guys from like NC State and Virginia Tech all over the country, like Concepcion was a first-round pick, maybe. Like the guys that left the ACC were good. But I think I overestimated the drop-off in talent from all those guys leaving in the portal because the ACC stayed pretty good. They're 8-4 in the bowls. Miami has a chance to make it 9-4, maybe even 10-4. So that's going well. I think they matched up physically with the SEC much better than they have in the past. When you look at some of the interconference matchups. So the ACC has actually been better than I thought, despite losing some of these guys. So, and of course, Miami lost twice to the ACC, and they haven't trailed once in the top 10 matchups they've had, meaning Notre Dame, Independent, Texas A&M, SEC, Ohio State, Big Ten. Miami has not trailed in those games, but of course, they lost twice to the ACC opponents. So this conference is a lot tougher than I thought it was, certainly for Miami. And FSU is going to have a very, very tough time with it next season.
No doubt.
All right, so let's keep rolling here. I know we spent a lot of time on FSU because they're a rival. Let's just roll through some of these quick. Brock Schott to Indiana. We talked a little bit about the playbook stuff there. His family's very classy in the departure. Talked to his dad. I'm a fan of Brock Schott. I think it's a great fit. He's obviously going to a program that develops. He's from Leo, Indiana, Fort Wayne area. The whole thing makes sense. I just wonder if he's going to play offense or defense. That's really my question there. And then obviously hoping he doesn't give away state secrets to Indiana, which again, he's a classy guy, but who knows how that works out.
I mean, if they ask him questions, I'm sure he'll have an answer or two.
But yeah, good fit for him.
Not all the answers.
Good fit for him. Another Kane departure, Pete, just to keep people updated. Jaden Harris has found that the grass is greener on the Great Plains, and he's now transferring to Kansas, where the grass is actually the greenest, right? In Kansas, Jayhawks.
Yeah. Hopefully, gets on the field there and is able to show something, man. Because I don't think he can't run, jump, or cover. I just think that he's got to go out there and make some plays, man. Yeah,
I mean, and he was always, aside from that post, which we were making fun of, he's always been kind of a classy guy, no issues there. So I hope he does succeed. I think it's a better deal. Go to Kansas and play. Don't go to Georgia and just, wear the uniform. I think these guys got to play. That's to me what makes sense. Kane's Cat also pointing out Dalen Russell, the defensive tackle going to Louisville, which I know had interest in him out of high school. I think that's a fit that makes a lot of sense for him and for Louisville, the defensive tackle from Columbus. Those are some Miami departures, Miami-related departures. We talked, Pete, about guys leaving the ACC last year and the ACC kind of keeping the same level. I want to focus on that because there were some significant departures from the ACC to highlight. First biggest one, or one of the biggest ones, Hollywood Smothers, the running back out of NC State, goes to Alabama. Charlotte native, so it's kind of like Concepcion. He's a local ACC guy signing with an ACC school, in this case NC State, but then leaving to the SEC. He led the ACC with an average of 85.4 rushing yards per game. Number 2 back in the portal, 5'11", 195. Originally signed with Oklahoma and actually went back home to NC State, flourished, and now is going back to the SEC. I thought he was really good all year, 939 yards, 6 touchdowns, 5.9 per rush. The only game that he got smoked was the Miami game. Did nothing in that particular ball game. I think he had -2 yards or something like that. It was a bloodbath, but a good back, as you can see by him going to Alabama, who really needs to run the ball better. I was disgusted by their running game this year, wearing that uniform.
This is a funny one, D, because I'm not sure if you saw this with Hollywood Smothers, but this is the transfer portal era in a nutshell. Let me pull this up from Corey Smith here. He says, throwback to the Hollywood Smothers commitment in high school, where he threw an Alabama hat and left NC State on the table before picking Oklahoma and putting the horns down. Now, Smothers is headed to Alabama after leading the ACC in rushing yards per game with NC State. How about that?
I mean, that was a great drop, Peter. That's the transfer portal world. Plus, he's wearing shades. Look at the Hollywood. I can see why they call him Hollywood Smothers, man. Look at the style of this guy. The whole production.
Call him on Hollywood Richards now, man.
Hollywood Richards. Yeah, man. He was. He said he had a call, man. I think he was out. I think he had a late call last night. But let's see what we got here. Other guys leaving the conference. Trell Harris from University of Virginia going to Oklahoma. This is kind of a bummer, I think, from an ACC standpoint. Number 11, this guy was a good player for them. Third team All ACC. He was their outside receiver, big play receiver. Originally from Chicago, went to Kent State, then moved up to Virginia and really had a good season. Again, think back to Virginia, number 11. I'll look at that was the guy making the plays down the field. 59 catches, 847 yards, 5 touchdowns. Really good against Duke. 7th in the ACC in receiving yards. And I just thought he was talented. Just watching him play, he wasn't like a fluky kind of guy, just getting schemed up. He did make some plays over guys, running by guys. He was a big play receiver, 2.2 yards per route run. So he was downfield to the bone. Oklahoma lost a lot in their receiving group. I didn't think it was that great anyways. Satania, we'll see if he goes pro. He was really their guy with the big plays. I don't think the receiving group was as good as you hoped with Deion Burks. If you're Oklahoma, that offense didn't click. So trying to get some downfield action, but a team that won 11 games in the ACC gets worse when you lose a receiver like that.
Yep, no doubt about it. And another team here in the ACC losing a receiver, NC State, as Terrell Anderson's headed to USC. And you had actually mentioned at the beginning you thought Miami might be involved here, just like I think looking at it on paper, right, and him having some ties, right. But I heard that Miami wasn't involved, and it seems like obviously he's right away here going to USC.
Yeah, that was when we were still trying to project the CJ Bailey thing into existence, or wish it into existence. But yeah, I think USC, they lose Mekhi Lemon, they lose Jacoby Lane. They're spending money. Makes sense to go and get Terrell Anderson, 6'2", 204. Kind of like Harris is a deep threat, bigger body than Harris, but there's an outside guy, makes a lot of plays on deep balls. 39 catches, 629 yards. So chunk play receiver, 5 touchdowns, explosive guy. USC needed to replace some of their receiver talent. They got young guys coming in, but to bring back Jaden Mayava, they had to get Terrell Anderson or someone like him to take the top off. Again, a North Carolina guy, in this case, Greensboro, North Carolina, leaving NC State to go across the country. Not a good trend for NC State, where your homegrown guys that you get and that succeed for you leave to greener pastures. So good get for USC. Tough loss for the ACC.
Yeah, I think probably the most interesting news yesterday, in my opinion, was Kenny Minchey flipping from Nebraska to Kentucky. He was the quarterback of Notre Dame. We talked about this yesterday a bit, where a lot of people thought he outplayed CJ Carr in that battle for the starting quarterback spot. CJ Carr obviously ended up being great, and I think it was the right call for the future of that program. But Nebraska might be in some trouble here after getting their guy taken from them.
Yeah, this has got to be the most heartbreaking thing in the world, to have a transfer quarterback lock your starter, and then a day later he's gone. It's just a weird feeling. Matt Rule, I don't know what the hell's going on in Nebraska. It seems like a mess, at least on the offensive side of the ball. Losing Dylan Raiola, which I can understand why you do that with the money and the results you were getting, but this was not good. Shout out to Will Stein at Kentucky. Statement recruiting win. Went real hard for Sam Levitt. LSU with Lane Kiffin against UK. You can see how you lose that battle. We'll see how that plays out, but I could see how that got away from Kentucky, even though they were making a strong run at Levitt. But then to pivot to Minchey, I think is impressive for Will Stein and what Kentucky's doing. Clearly, they're trying to be a quarterback run operation. And maybe we're hyping Minchey up too much as a backup type player. But
I still think they got to they got to really surround him with something there. But I'm a believer in what Stein does. So,
and he fits. I mean, he's strong guy like Dante Moore, passer. He can run, but he's not really, to me, a running quarterback. Minchie, I think he's a guy that can run. That's really a pocket passer, but a strong arm, big hands. He kind of fits that Oregon mold when you look at Dante Moore, and then not necessarily Dylan Gabriel, but some of the guys before that. So I like the fit. I like what he's going to do at Kentucky and the SEC. I think physically he can hold up. Think about Steve Angeli. He's somebody who we hyped up a lot. We really thought he was a good player, backup player at Notre Dame, goes to Syracuse, and if he doesn't get hurt, he's probably one of the top quarterbacks in the ACC, if not the country. So don't sleep on these backups, because sometimes when you're competing with CJ Carr, the backup is still a really, really good player in cases like that.
D, we've talked about some talent leaving the ACC. How about some talent entering the ACC, as wide receiver Ian Strong leaving Rutgers, gonna go to Cal to play with Jaron Kioe Sagapolotelli. Almost nailed it there. But listen, you have a quarterback like him, they're gonna want to throw it all over the yard. We understand that they are, not a top level NIL program, but making from what it looks like, part of the agreement here when you bring in a new coach and Tosh Lupoy is, hey, I need certain resources that I can allocate, and we understand that they want to surround JKS with weapons.
Yeah, and Ron Rivera helping out as well,
Rivera, course,
right,
yeah,
as a general manager. So I love this move. When you're a team like Cal, I was out there for Cal Miami last year. It was awesome. Old stadium, right? It's not going to always be filled, whatever, but it's a cool old stadium. You feel history there. You feel like you're part of college football. The game day was one of the coolest game days. Different. It's a different vibe. Obviously, it's Cal Berkeley, right? We're not talking about Auburn or Ole Miss, but it is a unique spot. And I think a guy like Rivera, similar to Andrew Luck, what he's going to do, or what he is showing that he's going to do, is let's lean into what makes us unique. We're not going to have everything, but let's lean into our strengths and really push it in that way. So he said, we got the young quarterback that's maybe the best young quarterback in the country. Pay whatever we got to pay to keep him. He's the most important piece of it. Spend on him. Then, by the way, a lot of rich Cal alums. Then you go say, all right, well, how are we going to make him look good? He needs a receiver. Then you go and get Ian Strong, which I want to highlight this because I really think next year in the ACC, this guy could be one of the leaders in the conference in receiving, if not the leader. And you're going to say, where'd this guy come from? So we're talking about it now. 6'3", 211, Rutgers, Long Island native, so he's from New York City. Safety and high school basketball player. Just a physical, strong guy that can go up and get it. Great contested catch receiver. This actually affects Miami indirectly because Notre Dame wanted to replace Malachi Fields. They went hard after Marsh, who went to Indiana. We talked about that yesterday. They lost out on that one as a Malachi Fields replacement, big physical guy. Now they went to the other big physical receiver in the portal, and Ian Strong. They didn't get that one done. So 0-for-2 for Notre Dame. They're not feeling great about that. I promise you. 52 catches, 14.7 yard average last year, 5 scores over the last 3 years, 111 catches, 1,600 plus yards, 12 touchdowns. I think the reason why this guy came available is because Rutgers had to pay KJ Duff, another New York native, a guy Miami recruited, probably not as hard as they wish they did in retrospect. But KJ Duff, if you guys remember from when he was recruited from Miami, he was like not the biggest, strongest guy. He was tall. He had run a 5 flat, I think, in one of these combines, but he developed into a complete monster. The speed caught up to him. He's now running in the 4.5s. He's bulked up, and he's one of the best receivers in the Big Ten. So we got a huge number on his deal to stay at Rutgers. So I think Rutgers like, all right, we can only pay one of you guys. And if you are strong, you not only want more money, you probably also want more opportunity. So you go out west, even though you're from New York City, you got one of the best young quarterbacks, if not the best young quarterback in the country, passing you the ball, and he's a passer. Pretty good deal for Ian Strong. Good deal for JKS. Good deal for Cal. I think you'll look back on this one and say, man, this guy ended up leading the ACC or being top 3 in receiving yards and touchdowns. Where'd he come from? That's the story there.
Another receiver to talk about here, one of the top available in the portal, not available any longer because he is signed to Arizona State, Amarion Miller from Colorado.
Yeah, this has got a lot of people linked to Miami again. P, I know you have been all over Jacobs as a primary target there from South Carolina as an outside receiver. I know there were some reports on Omarion Miller, Colorado, Buffalo, potentially going to Miami, but that's not something that we ever really talked about
again, when there has to be a distinguishing thing here, right? It's not that Miami doesn't think he's a heck of a player and a heck of a talent, but you want to spend on certain positions, right? You want to spend on, you're going to probably bring in 2 to 3 wide receivers, but are you going to bring in, is this someone that you thought was worth what the number was going to be on him is the question, D. And you already are bringing back, Malachi Toney, and he's going to be well paid. You're bringing back a lot of guys here that will be, not be taking pay cuts here and came in as big recruits. And you want to add guys as well that can be of good value. And then still, there might be guys who haven't entered the portal either here. So it wasn't something that I ever heard Miami really got too far down the line with. But in terms of Arizona State, you got to like the pickup, and then we'll talk about the quarterback that's coming in with him here, Cutter Boley.
Yeah, it's funny. I just went through the tweets to catch up to make sure we didn't miss anything. It looks like FSU just landed a center from Purdue, originally from Auburn. So they're trying to build up that offensive line. We were talking about that earlier in the show. But yeah, Miller, talk about a well-traveled young man. This guy's a small-town Louisiana kid, goes to Colorado, Boulder, Colorado. Now he's going to Arizona State. To me, this one seems very straightforward. I don't know if you see it the same way. You're Dillingham, you're ASU. You got Jordan Tyson from Colorado. He was one of the best receivers in the country, if not the best receiver in the country while you had him. He's gone.
We're going to feed you, and we're going to pay you well.
Yeah. Then you get another guy to just replace him. I'm sure that is the selling point for Omarion Miller, too.
And it was a huge deal when Jordan Tyson came back to school because there was talk he was going to go to the league.
Yeah.
Could he transfer for a big deal? But they paid him to stay. And you pretty much hit it on the head there. Probably just transferring that deal right over to him.
And it's worth it. I mean, it makes sense. This is what Arizona State should be doing, I think. And I want Arizona State to succeed. I hope they get some rich donors there with their NIL to get that up to par because it's a cool stadium when it's buzzing.
I love that place, man.
I know you love the area. We will all be out there. We'll all be desert folks here in a couple days or in a day. Man, crazy how fast this happened. But yeah, so it's a great area. Cool uniforms. I want them to be a good team in the Big 12. I think this is a smart play. You lose Tyson. Sam Levitt's just kind of getting weird on you. So you say, all right, well, we'll get Omarion Miller to replace Jordan Tyson, premier wide receiver in the portal with proven production and traits. And then we get Cutter Boley, who we like from Kentucky, big, athletic, multi-sport kid, really going to come down to whether he can continue developing as a passer. I think going to the Big 12, getting coached by Dillingham, getting a receiver like Miller to throw to, I think it's going to be great. Cutter Boley could be one of those guys that we're looking back on as an NFL guy because he took that step to develop in a new environment, easier competition.
Yep, like talent there and believer in Dillingham. So
a couple quick, we'll be quick through these. I just want to breeze through to give you guys the latest. Brandon Davis Swain, a defensive lineman from Colorado. He had been linked to Miami in the past. Texas A&M gets him. Former 4-star from Detroit. Solid player. Nothing crazy. 15 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and a forced fumble, but good body type there for Brandon Davis Swain. That's why Texas A&M. That's what they do. They got a lot of guys in the portal last year on the defensive line. Some made it, some didn't, but this is another one for them. Also, they got to replace a lot of offensive linemen at Texas A&M, so they go and get Trevon Baugh from South Carolina. Multi-year starter, 19 career starts. Not a world beater, but again, SEC experience, and they need help there on both sides of the line at Texas A&M. They lost a lot. Miami beat a very talented veteran Texas A&M team. Another team that I think had made multiple moves we should talk about, Nebraska. Body blow at that Kenny Minchie flip. Their quarterback situation is getting real desperate right now. Maybe they'll land on a good one, but that hurt them big time. Defensive side of the ball, I think they made some smart moves. They got San Diego State defensive coordinator Rob Orich. They had one of the top defenses in the country, San Diego State, that 4-2-5. So what do? They get players from San Diego State, bring them over. Owen Chambliss from the linebacker for San Diego State, 110 tackles, 9.5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 62 solo stops. Makes a lot of sense. Now, another San Diego State guy, Trey White, actually did not follow the coordinator and Chambliss to Nebraska, but instead goes to Texas Tech. San Diego kid, fits to me like a glove, 6'2", 255. Watching this guy, he's got a great get off, 53 tackles, 10.5 stops for loss, 7 sacks. So he's not necessarily going to be your David Bailey replacement because he's just not that. David Bailey was such a primetime athletic talent. He's going to be a top 10 pick. But Trey White does some of those same things. Texas Tech going right back to the well of investing in pass rush with Trey White. Very productive player from a great defense in San Diego State. Last one I want to hit, Michael Burrow, son of the Miami second-round pick on our defensive line back in the late 90s. He goes to Ole Miss. Atlanta native, 6'4", 350. Was good for the Gators. He won a game for them against Mississippi State. Had a pretty big
interception.
Yeah, 35 tackles in 2 seasons, 2 sacks and interception. But it was really a big space heater. That's a loss for them, and that he was a guy that played for their defense. So that is the latest in the transfer portal, Pete.
This is an interesting name. I hadn't thought about when we've talked about quarterbacks. The Hammer says Noah Fafita, Arizona quarterback. Check him out. I had no idea he still had eligibility. Apparently, he announced a couple of days ago he's returning. But I like that player. He's not the biggest guy in the world. But let me tell you something. I had heard his name a couple of years ago with Miami, like 3 years ago maybe, that Miami liked him a lot because he had a year. He had a down year last season. This year threw for 29 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
He came out.
But had a bad year, down year last year, 18-12. But in 23, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Let me tell you something. He announced he's returning, D, but that's an option I had not thought about. That's a pretty good player. Yeah,
it's a veteran guy. The size would be a detriment to me when you're playing at this level of football that Miami's trying to live in. But he's definitely a playmaker, man. I think he'd be better for us, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it either. We are thinking about it. We're trying to scrape any names up from the bottom of the barrel here, right? We're trying to scour and try to figure out, look, who's a quarterback who hasn't maybe announced he's coming back. He has announced, but that stuff doesn't mean anything to me, by the way. I don't the announcements that are coming. I say the same thing with CJ Bailey, it's speculation. I don't have any information.
I just don't know the contract.
If someone wants to get something done, there's ways around everything, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I think my biggest win as an attorney in a case was about the placement of a comma. So hopefully we got the comma misplaced here in this CJ Bailey contract, if one exists. But we'll see.
Humble brag there.
AP says, hammer that thumbs up button. Let's keep CIS Daily and free. Yeah, man, please keep liking and subscribing. If you're new to the show, we got 2,700 on. Theodore says we need Ty Simpson. Mike Ryan got the crowds going crazy with that Ty Simpson drop. Do you see that? He said it on. I think he dropped a little aside on the Weather Card show. Went crazy.
I don't know what Mike knows, but I think we've all said it. It would make complete sense, and he hasn't made any decision. Like that's Tennessee. Obviously, we talked about it yesterday that he's a Tennessee kid, but I don't know. Chris Lowe, who's a very solid reporter for ESPN, he basically said that he thinks it'll be Tennessee if it ends up coming back. But I don't see how that Tennessee offense gets you. Hendon Hooker helped himself, but ended up, what became of that. I know he got hurt, right? That messed up his process a bit, but that's that hypo offense. As a fan, if I was a Tennessee fan, I would love the offense, but I don't know that that's what Simpson needs to get himself ready for the next level here.
Yeah, 100%. And they have young guys. McIntyre's a really talented young player. I haven't watched him in depth, but I loved him in high school. I saw flashes, I want to say, in the spring game. I've seen him play in the Tennessee uniform. Maybe it was garbage time, do some nice things. Big athletic basketball player. And then you're bringing in the number one quarterback in the country. So you want to pay that guy all that money and then pay huge money for Ty Simpson? That doesn't make sense to me, especially when you're not like a plug-and-play type of team. Oregon could make sense if Dante Moore were to leave. But Miami, I'm sure these agents are selling Miami. Now it's about the kind of the cultural fit, right? That's, I think, the problem is these guys are from different parts of the country. That's why I was such a CJ Bailey proponent. So I love the Carson Beck fit, right? So I love the Mendoza fit. These are guys that have ties to Florida or to Miami. So,
hey, beggars can't be choosers, my friend.
Hey, we'll see how it plays out, man. But look, I'll take Ty Simpson in a second. I'm just saying, I don't know if he'd pick us.
Yeah, well, yes, that's That's a factor. I just think if he becomes available, we're interested.
Yeah, as we should be. I think he'd be a great fit. He fits like a glove, quite frankly, and he needs experience. Ty Simpson going pro right now would be insane. I know we've talked about the draft placement, but all the quarterbacks.
I think we're on different sides of the spectrum with that, because I know what can happen if he's legitimately the number 3 QB in this class, which is what Chris Lowe said. He said, look, if he's getting that you're QB number 3 and you'll probably go in the middle to late part of the first round. D, to me, you go. I understand what the numbers say about the veteran stuff, but I keep going back to Garrett Nussmeier. If Garrett Nussmeier leaves last year, he's a mid to late first round pick. I don't know what his situation looks like right now. You got to strike when the iron's hot. If he's legitimately projected to go there right now,
Some guys raise their stock, some guys lower their stock. Obviously, one of the reasons you go to Miami is because you get protected a lot better than Garrett Nussmeier. But to me, it's about how you play when you get there. The first where you get picked is fine, but who got drafted over Josh Allen? There were a bunch of people that did. It wasn't the first pick of the draft. Certainly a lot of people picked over Mahomes.
But you don't know
over
going back
Jackson.
To school would have. You also can't look at that crystal ball if going back to school is going to guarantee you to go higher, or do you take that money and try to work with what you got, man? That's not everyone is obviously making decisions based on that, but one thing Chris Lowe also said was he's a guy who's taking a lot of hits, and you just never, man. These guys take hits, and you want to go through another season of that in the SEC, or would you rather you're getting paid, so it's not,
you're getting those hits in the NFL when you don't know what the heck you're doing, and Myles Garrett's.
But if you're a first round pick, his signing bonus could be anywhere from $12 to $25 million, maybe more than that. So
yeah, but let's say 12. It'll be on the lower side. I mean, I think because he hasn't played that well, so that's part of it too. Even if he's the third quarterback, it's not like he's like. They're not spending a top 10 pick on Ty Simpson, I don't think, based on how he finished. Let's say he goes late first. What's late first? Like 12 million?
Late first. Last year, I was looking at it the other day. Last year, it was like a $12 million signing bonus, the last pick of the draft. So
you make $5 million here. So you're giving up 7, and the odds are dramatically clear, or they make it's obvious that the guys who play well when they get in the NFL, forget where they got picked. That's worth about $7 million difference. These guys are signing for like $50 million a year when they're a good quarterback. So the guys who play well when they get into the NFL are the ones that have more experience. It's just across the board. It is as conclusive as it gets. Richardson, no experience. He sucked. Trubisky, no experience. He sucked. Who else? Trey Lance, no experience. He sucked. It's rare to have guys with no experience get picked high, but the ones that do, I can't think of any good ones. So if you're Ty Simpson, to me,
playing a lot also doesn't guarantee you being.
Doesn't guarantee, but it helps. And you're getting paid $5 million, and you could potentially. By the way, talk about the draft position. Let's say he's a pick in the 20s. I think that's fair to say based on because he just didn't finish that well, and he's not the most toolsy guy. So let's say he gets picked in the 20s. What if he goes to Miami, has a great year, and he's picked in the top 3? I mean, you get the money back right away. Plus, you could play better because you have more experience. So, to me, I think a guy like Simpson, I don't know. Simpson's dad's a college football coach. I don't think the guy's starving. That's 100% the smart move, whether it's at Miami or somewhere else, is to get more experience. Quite frankly, I think the same thing for Dante Moore, who will be a top 5 pick if he goes. So we'll see on that one too. That's another domino.
Definitely. Oregon's the interesting one here when it comes to Miami, because that's a very competitive program to get into the market for a quarterback if Moore leaves.
It's Job saying Dante'd be a fool to come back to college. It's Job, or it's Job. Do me a favor. Go online, look at the career starts for the NFL quarterbacks, and find me the good ones that started less than 20 games. That's what I would say. And then find the guys like Brock
different
Purdy
game though, man. It's a different era. I think we're gonna see it. We're also gonna see more differences now in a new era. D.
What do you mean?
I think if a Bryce Underwood, for example, will leave after 3 years.
He'd have 30+ starts.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know, man. I just think that the money is. These guys are taking such a business approach to what this thing is now, D.
That's not business. That's bad business. It's stupid business.
I don't know that it is though. But what happens if Dante Moore comes? If Dante Moore is a top 5 pick this year, D, and if he comes back next,
find me a guy.
But I'm just asking you I'm
Sorry,
asking
I
you
cut you
this.
off there. I apologize.
No, I was just asking you, like, if he comes back to school and he gets hurt and he's not a first round pick, whose fault is it?
He might still be a first round pick. Sam Bradford busted his
He's not a
shoulder
top
just the
five,
first pick of the
if he's
draft.
not
I
a
don't
top
think they care
5
that
pick,
much.
I'm saying.
I don't think they care that much, quite frankly, if you're good. But then it's more about how you play when you go to the league. Because if you look at the quarterbacks making $50 million a year, which is the real money, if we're talking business and being smart, those quarterbacks started more than 20 games. Many cases, like Brock Purdy, they started 40 plus. Last pick of the draft, $50 million a year. So I care about how they play. You want to be, to me, short-sighted business or long-term smart business. And long-term smart business.
I'll flip it on you. I'll flip it on you. I don't think it's the lack of experience. And I think you'll agree with this, what I'm about to say. I put blame on how the NFL teams are getting these guys ready. I don't think that they're getting them ready at all. So I think it could be a little bit of both, D. But I think if you get a guy in there and work him in under the right circumstances, like there's an argument to make Cam Ward shouldn't have started this year. Right off the bat, with like they should have had probably someone else in place who was a vet that maybe 5-6 weeks in he takes over, because like a lot of the stuff we saw early in the season probably could have been avoided by him sitting back and realizing he has to play a certain way behind an offensive line that was as bad as it was and with no weapons. I put more blame of it on the NFL is kind of what I would say to what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, you go first round, you get thrown out there, and you want to go throw out there without the experience or with the experience? Because Brock Purdy played fast and he was ready for it. And then, 757 is saying the same thing. I'm tripping. No guarantees either way. Go get paid. I'd rather get paid $50 million a year than a $12 million signing bonus. By the way, they're getting paid in college. It's not like these guys are not getting paid in college. They're making $5 million, $6 million to play college football for a year. So to me, it's the most obvious. It's like,
this is a good point too. Nick says if he's a back end of the first round type of guy, I mean, he's probably getting drafted Simpson to a better situation than he would be if he was in the top 5 there. It's like no one wants to go play for the Jets right now.
You know what though? Tyler Shuck, who is, again, how many stars does Tyler Shuck have? Tyler Shuck is like 25. Okay. He got drafted to the Saints. The Saints suck. You think he's not making an impression?
He needed to keep playing. He didn't have the option to leave early though. So
he didn't, but like he's ready. And now Tyler Shuck.
I like Shuck.
Second round.
He wasn't. It was a different situation though. They weren't. He wasn't in the same. The age thing also. He would have been a first round pick probably if he didn't have the age thing.
Well, I'll tell you this. Tyler Shuck is older. I'm pretty sure. I have to look this up, but I bet Tyler Shuck is either older or the same age as Anthony Richardson. Top 5 pick, left early without 20
Yeah, I've seen that stat.
Would you rather be Anthony Richardson's agent right now, or would you rather be Tyler Shuck's agent? I'd rather be Tyler Shuck's agent because I'm saying
I know what you're saying, but again, D, with Anthony Richardson, you can make the argument that he comes back to school and he puts himself under the microscope even more, that the flaws will show itself. And I understand what I think at that point, again, he hadn't produced. If you're going to tell me he hadn't produced much at all, maybe had a game or two, and you're still projected as a top 5 pick, you go, because you get put under the mic. That's my opinion of it. I'm not saying it's right, but again, should Anthony Richardson, I mean, he was starting right off the bat. Again, he got hurt right away. Should he have been starting right away? I put that on the Colts. I'm not saying you draft him. I understand what the financial implications are, but you maybe got to eat it. You then eat it as an organization or change your approach to how you're going to do it.
My concern is you're going to be, when you're the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, that's a much bigger microscope than having Mel Kiper talk about your release while you're playing for the Florida Gators. In other words, the microscope's coming either way. The flaws are going to be exposed either way. I would rather minimize those flaws while getting paid millions. You still get paid millions when you get drafted. And then if you have less flaws when you enter and you succeed, now you're making real money, not the short money. Especially with these guys. Look, there are certain situations that are extreme from a financial standpoint, but now with the NIL, I think that's been reduced a little bit. And certainly in the case of a Ty Simpson, I don't think that factors in. I don't know. To me, I'm focused on the big money. I want to see, what do I need to do? Peyton Manning went back to the draft. Justin Herbert went back. Josh Allen. These guys are stars of the world. if I'm trying to make a $50 million contract a year, which is going to go up every year, it's going to be 60, 70 probably in a couple of years. How do I put myself in the best position to be that? I want to be Bo Nix. That's who I want to be. I don't want to be Mitch Trubisky. I want to be Bo Nix. How can I put myself in a position for that money? That's my view, but it's an interesting debate. I like it. I like this conversation.
I think the NFL, and I think Peyton Manning's talked about this, and Brady has talked about this a lot, about how the NFL is not developing guys the right way. I really think that's the nature of the league. This thing has to be you're getting fired in a year. If a lot of NFL coaches are getting fired in 1 year, 2 years, they're not given time. It's not college football, but you gotta have multiple QBs in place, my opinion.
Yeah, it's a fast derby, man, with these quarterbacks, man. It's crazy seeing how this thing is rolling. It's like the most important thing, and it happens so fast. I mean, imagine Nebraska. You're looking at it like, hey, our whole future is going to be Minchie, and the next day he's not there, and you got to recruit everybody else at the same time. Like I wonder if I'm surprised Ja'Cory Bronny hasn't entered the portal. He must have gotten a raise.
I like him.
Yeah, for those who remember, Palmetto wide receiver. Miami really wanted him out of high school. He went to Nebraska not because he was like.
And I remember people were like, "Oh, Miami must not have wanted him." It's like, no, they lost that battle. And again, he's gotten the ball a lot early here in his career, so I don't know that it's been a bad decision for him. But if he does enter, I would love to have him.
Yeah, real quick, got to shout out my man, the OrchidMan, ORCHID man, Florida.com, South Florida's official landscape artisans from Palm Beach all the way down to the Keys. 786-271-0332. All the dirty work, the ugly work, they will make your landscape maintenance easy. Irrigation, hurricane prep, all that stuff. They will take care of it. Residential property, commercial properties, not just the pretty flowers, although they'll help you with that too, and some of the most beautiful flowers in Florida. They will also make sure everything is spick and span. You're not worried about it. OrchidMan Florida, ORCHID man, Florida.com. Do we got basketball today, Pete?
No, tomorrow. I can't wait. Tomorrow night. I can't wait. We should get the gang together and watch Canes go 2-0 in the ACC. Tough one against Wake Forest. They've again had an up and down start to the year, but excited about what they have here. Should be a nice battle. Shout out to Arees Law PA. Check out areeslawpa.com for your estate planning needs, trusts, wills, all of that. Plan your future so others don't. Schedule your free consultation today. I'm about to go see our boy Oliver at Golden Touch. D, I gotta hop off here now in a second because gotta run over there onto campus. Get this mop right, man.
And you do have basketball tonight. I know I was confused now.
Yeah, so I'm trending towards going to Columbus to go see them play against St. Thomas Aquinas. Gonna go see Caleb Gaskins in action. Hopefully, I haven't completely confirmed it, but trending that way here. So,
yeah, man, it'll be fun to watch. You let me know the breakdown. I'm excited about that guy. I'm excited about the Canes basketball in general. We're gonna have a fun off season, hopefully, talking about number 7. But that doesn't happen unless you beat Ole Miss. We'll reconvene later. Pete, be good.
All right, go Canes.
Over 2 hours now on the CanesInSight Daily podcast. We are rocking and rolling. Shout out to the Miami Hurricane team store. Use promo code INSIGHT20. Get 20% off your first item. Look at that playoff quarter zip. I got to get this one right here. Cotton Bowl shirt. All kinds of stuff for the Miami Hurricanes. It's MiamiHGS.com. Promo code INSIGHT20. Getting you 20% off your first item. You can go also to the store across the street from the University of Miami. But a lot of content on the channel now if you missed it. We did a flurry. Malik Rozier, we talked about earlier. Landon Tangwell, which is awesome. Offensive lineman, former offensive lineman from Penn State, now a national college football analyst, does great stuff on the Canes. He was awesome. We had that video, so ton of stuff on the channel. Of course, Aman, always good. Appreciate everybody joining us. Almost 2,800. Like and subscribe if you are new around here. We'll talk to you soon. Go Canes.